I want to start with our very first cybercrime claim, which happened about 4 or 5 years ago. So a law clerk at the law firm is surfing the net, doing some investigation that she needs to do for her file. And she sees this interesting thing that she's going to click on, and she clicks on it. That then installs what is called the Trojan banker virus. And what the Trojan banker virus does is whenever you go to a banking website, it pops up this little page that looks exactly like the real thing, but it's a spoof. And everything you type into this spoof goes straight to the hacker. So the day goes on. She doesn't know she's been infected. She doesn't know that she clicked on a virus. She continues surfing. Day goes on. She wants to access the banking website. She clicks on her banking website, and the spoof comes up. Looks exactly like hers. Puts in her contact information, tries to log in, puts in her password, doesn't work. And it says, the website is currently down, try again later. 5 minutes later, she gets a phone call from the hacker. And the hacker says, oh, hi, I see you're trying to access our banking website. Why don't you try and log in again, and this time use a dongle. So whenever she needs to access her trust funds, she puts in this dongle, which is a USB stick, into her computer, and it creates a password on the spot. So only she has access to it. That's called two-step authentication. She has her password for the banking website, and she's got this dongle, which only she has, supposedly very secure. And so she types in her password, she puts the dongle in, and what happens? And all that information goes straight to the hacker, who then logs into the banking website. On her side, she sees, no good, can't access the banking website. And she's talking to this hacker on the other side and says, oh, it's not working. And the hacker goes, yeah, we're really sorry, try again tomorrow. Click. Meanwhile, the hacker empties the trust accounts for that day. In the business of this law firm, every day there's more and more money that's being deposited, right? So let's go to day 2 now. She still doesn't know she's been hacked. Day 2 rolls around, same thing. Tries to access the website. Hacker calls, pretends to be a banking representative, puts in all the information, trust accounts are emptied for that day. Day 3 rolls around, still doesn't know she's been hacked. She goes to the bank. Luckily, she still has some paper checks that she has to deposit. And she puts in those, she goes to the banking teller, and she deposits all her checks and does her usual banking. And as she's about to leave, she casually says, what's wrong with your website? And what's the response? Nothing. Imagine her shock at that point when she realizes she's probably been spoofed. She checks her banking account, nothing in the trust accounts. $400,000 emptied. That's the very first story that I've got to scare you. So I'm the head of fraud at the malpractice insurer in Ontario, which is a mandatory malpractice insurer. We've got 26,000 lawyers. They all have to be insured. Why are you an appealing target? Well, you don't have the kind of security that a bank does, for starters, right? You're easier to hack into than trying to hack into a bank. And if you're a solo or a small, you're a 3-person security firm, And what do you have? Do you have security guards coming into your firm? But on the other hand, how much money do you have in your trust accounts? You've got hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in your trust accounts, and that can be emptied, and that's what they're going after. The second thing they're going after is information. You got a big deal, you have a big transaction, and someone wants to know about that, they will try and hack into your firm. Those are the 2 biggest reasons why you are being targeted. And we are seeing more and more and more law firms and lawyers being targeted. How easy is it to hack? All you have to do is go to the appropriate channel, the dark web, and you can get something that will help you hack into a Hotmail account in the old days. I mean, now it's going to be something different. And all you do is you type in that email address, start hack process, and you go and eat at McDonald's. You come back, you've got that password, you've got that login. So it's easy for hackers to try and get into your firms. This is called a DDoS attack, a denial of service attack. And what this does is it's you pay these guys 1 to 4 hours for $2 an hour, and they will use a whole bunch of servers to try and contact your website at the same time, access your website at the same time. And if you've got hundreds or thousands of servers trying to access your website, it will be brought down because it can't handle the traffic. You just pay someone $2, job done. Here are the four things that we look for, that hackers are looking for. Trust account theft, we talked about. Confidentiality breach, if there's a deal or some information they want. Data destruction, right? If someone just wants to be malicious, they might want to hack into your firm, get rid of everything. And service interruption. You're down for a couple hours, no big deal. What if you're using, by the way, practice management software that's not on the cloud, and you have a service interruption? How are you going to keep going, right? OK. One of the myths I want to deal with is this thinking that we're innocent when we get hacked. We're just doing our law thing. We're just surfing the web. That's not necessarily how it happens. There are personality traits, character traits that we all have that hackers target. Specifically, these, what I've called the 7 deadly sins or 7 deadly traits of cybercrime. Hackers will try and prey on each of these, and we'll go through some cool examples. Let's start with greed. This is an email from a hacker to a client of a lawyer. And as it happens, the client was looking for an investor in the Middle East. So this totally fit into what was expected. And here's the email. And what it says is this. This hacker represents a $1 billion, the Saudi Arabian family worth $1 billion. They want to invest $1 to $10 million into a project or a business. And as it happened, the client has those opportunities. The client had tons of land worth about 10 to 100 million, different parcels, and they wanted someone to invest in that. So everything made sense here. I mean, typically you might read this and go, well, obviously it's fake. But if you have a client that deals in significant numbers, everything works, right? And keep in mind that they are doing research on your clients. And if they find out who the lawyer is, they're going to try and make it all make sense. If you have a client that's worth, that's trying to sell their house for $1 million or invest in a business for $100,000, they'll cater that email to try and fit that scenario. And so phone calls were made, and they said, the lawyer was skeptical from the beginning and said, look, I'm not doing this. And the client said, no, I really want to go through with this. And they made phone calls, and the hacker said, here's what we'll do. We'll fly you over for $40,000. Come and meet us in Saudi Arabia, and we'll set everything up for you. First class, everything. Sounding good. Lawyer is super skeptical and says, send me a check. Send me a good faith check here. You've told me you want to buy, they negotiate, they come up with a deal, and he says, send me a good faith check. There it is. Came in the mail a couple days later by courier, $972,000. This check is real. The lawyer said, wow, that looks real. So what did he do? He called the company, Creation Technologies. He said, do you have a check for check number so-and-so? And the accountant said, actually, I do. And it's for $2,760. So add the 9 and the 7 to that check. Totally real check. And they have no idea how that check, which was deposited in a Canadian bank, ended up in the hands of a hacker. Right? No idea. But this is a 100% real check, totally doctored really well. There isn't the usual, the font doesn't match. None of that is easy to find here. And because of that, they knew it was not a real deal. So that is how the princess turned into a pumpkin, right? Okay. I'll give you another example of greed. This is just an email that you may get from a bank or from the hacker posing as a bank. And it says, you've got an incoming wire transfer. And you're like, oh, that's great. I want to click on that. And right here, we've got the payment.zip file. If you open a zip file and you don't have the proper protections, it is possible that there's a virus in there, that zip file will automatically open up and execute the virus inside the file. So if you're getting a zip file and you don't know who it's from, and you're not 100% certain it's safe, think twice before opening it. And that's one of my tips right now. And if you check the email, I don't know if you guys can see that up there on the screen. That's not actually a Royal Bank email, right? It's uzan.vanadine@agrico, and so on. Clearly not a Royal Bank email. Next one we're going to do is trust. This is the big one that we're seeing. Lawyers will take advantage of the trust we have as human beings with each other. And it's called phishing. They'll find out everything about you and try and attack things that are specific to you. They will go to your LinkedIn website. They will go to your law firm website. They will find out you only do real estate in this area, or you only do corporate law in this area. You only litigate these kind of claims. And they will send you emails in that kind of vein. Here's something that was a result of spear phishing, supposedly from our CEO at LawPRO, Kathleen Waters, to our CFO, Steve Jorgensen, to do a wire transfer. And if you look at the email here, you're thinking, oh, clearly that is not a real email. happypen319@gmail.com. I guarantee you that's not the CEO's email, right? But if you're on your phone, and how many of us check most of our emails by phone, right? There you go. And you're looking at your iPhone or your Samsung, and it shows you that email address, and it's perfectly worded. You might fall for it. You might not click Show Details to see what that address really is. Right? In this day and age, it's very easy to just click Reply or open, go like that, and that opens up the virus. Right? I'll give you another one we've been seeing just this last couple of weeks, by the way. At around 12 o'clock, when you go for lunch, you will get an email from another lawyer at your firm, probably a partner, that says, are you there? And you reply, yes, I am, what's up? And the reply comes back, I need you to do a quick transfer for me. Boom, 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 and it goes on. Because they're assuming that when you're out for lunch, you're going to be looking at your email from your cell phone, and they will be hoping that you're not going to notice it's not an email actually from that person. Okay. So we've been seeing a lot of those. Here's another example, supposedly from the CEO to the accountant, Ivory Boudeville, that says, I need you to disperse some payments for me. And this time when you check the email, it looks real. What's the difference here? The L's are ones. They registered a domain name, awpro.ca, and tried to act like they were the CEO. So that says Kathleen.Waters. And again, very hard to tell, right? That's the extent of the sophistication of their hacking. Okay, a hacked email account. We're seeing a lot of these. They will hack into a client's account. I'll give you the client example first. They'll hack into the client's account, and they will monitor the client's email. They will read the emails. They will find out that there is some litigation happening, for example, with your law firm. And then they will sit. They will wait patiently until that file settles. They will wait patiently until that deal closes. And then on the day that it closes, because they're monitoring the emails, they will send an email and say, oh, thank you for doing a great job. Can you send the money to this account instead of the previous one? And if you're not careful, and you think that's actually from them, you've just sent away all the client's money to the hacker's account. So they're monitoring your client's account, which they've hacked into. So when you get instructions to send money to some account that you've never heard of, give the client a call and make sure that it's real. Right? Otherwise, you've just sent all that money away. Same thing if it's a self-rep on the other side. They will hack into the self-rep's account, wait until it settles, and just as you're about to send money to the self-rep for the settlement monies, you get an email from the hacker posing as the self-rep that says, send it to this account in Malaysia, or whatever, right? Okay, and same thing with third parties. Here's one. This one happened to my wife, who's sitting right here. And what it is that email, you know, oh, I'm in the UK, and I'm hurt. I need help. Someone stole all our cash. Can you send me monies? Who's seen this kind of an email? Almost all of you here. If you've seen this email, that means the person who's sending it has been hacked, and they are sending this out to their whole contact list. Again, it's taking advantage of the trust we have in each other. Oh, it comes from that email. It must be from mom. So I'm going to send that money over. But it's not real. Ignorance. Here's an email. And I just call this ignorance because there are so many red flags here, starting with 2. You see view original docs here. You put your mouse over. So those of you that use Outlook, or just about any email program, put your mouse over the link. And when you do that, it shows you the actual link. And here's my rule of thumb here. You guys are going to love this one. If the link doesn't fit, you must not click. Now, the millennials, they've never seen the O.J. Simpson trial, right? But People versus O.J. There you go. If the link don't fit, you must not click. So the link has to fit what you expect it to, right? If it goes to Bank of America, then you want to see in that link Bank of America, right? If the email is from your CEO, you want to make sure it's from that person or from your client. Everything has to fit. This one is from supposedly from the Aeroplan or it can be from any Air Miles type vendor. And we all do a fair bit of traveling. You're all here at the Clio conference in New Orleans. By the way, I've had so much fun here in New Orleans, by the way. And if you've just booked something, and in this case, our vice president had just booked a trip, and it just so happened that they got this email from the Air Miles type person. And they'll say, oh, you've just booked this great trip to so-and-so for this amount of money. Click here to confirm, and click here or to print it out, and click here to cancel. And both of them send you to the wrong one. And they're actually kind of betting that you'll click on the cancel one, right? They want you to click on these. The point is, don't click on it, because you put your mouse over, and you'll realize that's not the real. It's not sending you to where it should. Fear. We are seeing a lot of these emails, and I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of these. Your account at so-and-so has been hacked. Please click here and get it all fixed up. No legitimate enterprise will ever send you that kind of email. Okay. Put your mouse over clicking here, and you see it's not the right email. And again, the to line doesn't work. The from line doesn't make sense. That's not a real Bank of Montreal link. Nothing makes sense here. Apple. I mean, we all have iTunes accounts. You'll get something that looks exactly like it's from Apple. Same thing. Put your mouse over verify now, and you'll see that it's not sending you to the right link. Another Apple one, same thing. This is what it looks like, by the way. I've stripped away all the graphics. And the reason why I put this here, it looks like it's totally legit. They will use all the right images. They will have that little copyright on the bottom. Everything will look perfect. So what you have to pay attention to is the from line, and number 2, putting your mouse over that link. If the link don't fit, thank you. Good. Curiosity killed the. Okay. This is an example. You're working away in your law firm, and your best buddy sends you an email. Check out this link. Please, don't click on it. It might be the funniest thing in the world. Wait until you get home. Put a virus on your home computer. That's okay. But don't risk that at the law firm where you're doing work, where you have trust funds, where you have information. Very different scenarios here. Leave that off. Also tell your best friend not to be emailing you at the law firm. Right? Again, you put the mouse over, and you see it doesn't send you to any link that you recognize. So forget about it. Delete it. Anyone recognize this? This is what you get when you've been hit by ransomware. So how do you get hit by ransomware? You click on something you shouldn't. It installs a virus onto your computer. That program will then start to encrypt all the documents, any .doc you have, any .ppt for PowerPoint, any .pdf you have. It will encrypt all those documents. And then when you click and try and open it, it says, you get this. All your files are encrypted. If you want to decrypt it, you click on this site. And what it does is they want to be paid in Bitcoin. It used to be. They only asked for a couple thousand. And if you paid it, they would tend to decrypt your files. So that's a good thing. Surfing don'ts. Okay. What are some tips I can give you? If it doesn't say HTTPS, then don't click on it if you're trying to access something that's secure. If you think it's secure, but it doesn't have that little S there, it's not secure. Don't visit unknown websites. Totally fine to go, do your music and fun stuff at home. Don't do it at the law firm. File sharing sites. Again, don't do those. And these are obvious, but we see them. Right? We see lawyers do this. Don't download software that you don't trust. Anytime you get a pop-up, don't click OK, and don't say yes. Right? Just X that box out. By the way, I've got a tip for banking here. It might be further on. And the tip is this. These days, it is very cheap to get a laptop. $200, $400 gets you a laptop. So get yourself a laptop that does banking and only banking. Nobody else ever touches this laptop for any reason. You want to do some banking? Go onto this laptop and do some banking. Close it up. Forget about it. All the other laptops, let the lawyers use them, and so on and so forth. This guarantees that the laptop you use for banking is probably never going to be hit by anything, right? Unless something else has been hit on the network. Then you have to be concerned about that. So why not invest a couple $100, get a laptop, just to do banking and nothing else? Laziness. And this one has to do with passwords. This list looks the same every year. Number 1 tends to be the same every year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Everything else is the same. You can go to howsecureismypassword.net. Type in your password there right now, and as you type, it will tell you how long it takes to break it according to some algorithm. And if you type in all letters, it will say it will take 2 minutes. If you put in some symbols and numbers, it'll take a month. Add a couple more, it takes 200 years. It used to be that the advice would be, have some symbols, have a capital letter, a small letter, a number. You had some ridiculous, really hard to type password. Whatever your crazy symbol password is, forget about that. Toss it. Get yourself a long 3- or 4-word password. That's your password. And it's easy to remember, right? HaveIBeenPwned.com, PWNED, which is hacker talk for owned. Have I been owned? Type in your password there. Not your password. Type in your login, your email there, and click on Pwned, and it will tell you whether your email has been hacked. They keep a database of all the emails that have been hacked in, the eBay hack, the Yahoo hack, and so on and so forth. And my Gmail, by the way, has been hacked before. So this is just my corporate email, right? And if you use your Gmail or your LiveMail or whatever it is that you use, I bet you've been hacked at some point. And this is the reason why the advice is usually to change your password every once in a while, because you will be hacked and you won't know. And if that's happened, that's why it's good to change your password every now and then. Why shouldn't you be using Wi-Fi at the airport to do your law firm work? Here's why. You're sitting at the airport, or you're sitting at Starbucks, and you see two Wi-Fi ways to connect, Starbucks 1 and Starbucks 2. And you click on Starbucks 1, and you log in. You're like, oh, this is fine. This works perfectly. Too many unknowns, and you've got trust accounts and information that's very precious. No firewall. We still see these, which is why I put this up here. If your law firm doesn't have a firewall, then by God, get a firewall. Right? So easy to do these days. Anger. This is the last one. Up to 43% of data loss is due to your employees and former employees. We have a website, practicePRO.ca, where we have an employer departure checklist. I used to think that it was mean whenever we let go of an associate or a law clerk to walk up to this person and say, you know, you've been let go, and now we're going to walk you around doing whatever you need to do until you get out of here. And I was like, well, that's harsh, isn't it? But the answer is it's not. That is good practice. When you let someone go or someone's leaving the office, you stick with them until they leave so that they can't steal any information, so that if they are angry, they cannot take action against you because you're making sure everything's protected. So about half of data loss is due to insiders. Okay. Email and surfing. Email can be dangerous. We've just seen lots of examples of that. But when you're sending an email, be very careful not to send your email to the wrong person. If you have two people with the same name and you get two, you know, Ian Smith and Ian Who, you want to make sure that goes to the right person. Don't want to say nasty things. We still see malpractice claims for when a lawyer is angry and sends that email. You know, I used to hear these tips where they would say, type in your reply and don't send it. Don't do that, because it's very easy to type in your reply and then accidentally click send, right? So open up a Word document, vent out into that Word document, and the worst that can happen is you click save. That's okay. Enter the full names in the address book. Again, type in the email first, and then type in who you're sending it to. Right? Usually we always put in that person first. Then double check your email and then send it. Okay, I've got some time to talk about bad check fraud. It's all related. I'm the head of the fraud team at LAWPRO, so it's all the same kind of thing. They prey on the same kind of characteristics. And this is what bad check fraud looks like. Someone emails you and says, I've got a legal matter. I need your help to help me figure this out. I'll give you an example. I'm trying to collect payments from my husband, from my ex-husband, who's not making the spousal payments. And the ex-husband says to me, the client, all I need to do is get a lawyer, and then he'll send the money to the lawyer, because he doesn't trust me. And so you're the lawyer, and you're sitting there and saying, okay, I'll take this case. My retainer is $1,500 or $2,500. And I will write that demand letter for you. You write that demand letter. A couple of days later, you get a package in the mail. You get a huge check for a couple $100,000. You should be thinking right then, this is the easiest matter that I have ever done. And you should also be thinking, therefore, it's too good to be true. It's not real. You deposit that check. And if you don't forget about it and you deposit the check, that check is not real. But here's the thing. Before the check clears, the client will say to you, oh, thank you so much for writing that demand letter. You've done such a great job. Why don't you take, I know you wanted to be paid $1,000. Why don't you take $1,500? And why don't you send me that money right now? Because my son is really sick or my grandmother is really sick, and I need to go and visit her and take care of her. First thing you should be thinking is, what client ever offers to pay you more? Right? The second thing is, they're trying to get you to release those funds before they've cleared. So whatever the laws are in your state, or however your bank works, wait that 5, 8, 10 days until the funds have cleared before you send the money out. If you send that money out, if you disperse those funds from the trust account to the client who is really a fraudster, you're going to be on the hook for that money. and the bank will come after you. Here are the other common types. Just whatever your practice area is in, remember spear phishing. They know what kind of law firm you have. They will find something in your area and go for it. You're in corporate law. The client will come to you and say, I've got a business loan, and I need to collect on that money. And the person I've loaned the money says, if I hire a lawyer, they'll pay it. And same thing. Right? You send the demand letter. A couple of days later, you get that huge check. IP, inventory purchase loan if you do commercial transactions, and so on. These are the IDs that we've seen. We use the Ontario driver's license up there. I can tell you that it looks real. Right? The font's good, everything. But they are not, none of these IDs are real. Passports. None of these passports are real. And you can see in some of these pictures it's the same person, or it's been flipped around. Right? None of these passports are real. Notaries. Someone's retaining you from out of state or from another country. You're asking for a notary to notarize their ID and to identify them. None of these are real. Checks. Checks will usually be from out of state or out of country. So in Canada, we see a lot of American checks. And here in America, you're going to see a lot of Canadian checks. You're going to see a lot of checks from Mexico. Because it's harder for the bank tellers to tell if they're real. None of these are real. Even more complex, they will set up a website that looks like the lawyer's website. So they'll say, I need you to contact this lawyer, my ex-husband's lawyer. And here's the website and so on. And you go on, and it looks like the real thing. And you can click on all of these links. There's pictures of all the lawyers, all the bios. They steal all that information from a law firm that's out of state so that you won't know that that's real or fake. I'm going to give you the best tip I can, which is go to avoidaclaim.com. That is the firm that we run. I mean, that is the website that we run. We get hundreds of emails from lawyers that are encountering fraudsters, and we put them on our website. If you get a name that you don't trust and you're wondering about it, go to avoidaclaim.com. You can just type the name into the search bar, and if there's a hit, it'll show up. You can also just give me a call, and I will put it up on the website, and we can talk through it. So avoidaclaim.com is awesome. Or you can do some Googling. Sometimes they'll give you an address, and then you go to that address on Google Maps, and you realize it's just a flat piece of land. Right? It's not actually what it says it is. Or it's a law firm, and it's a farm. Right? So you can use Google Maps if they give you an image. If they give you a photograph, you can use the reverse Google image search. And thereby, and through that, you can see if that image is in the Google database, and it's probably linked to someone else. So those are ways you can check. So cyber dangers are real. We have a cybercrime magazine, practicePRO.ca. Please check out our website. You can go to magazines and find the cybercrime magazine. You can pass that on to you and your staff. Okay. The lesson here is, it doesn't matter if you've got the best IT support in the world if you're clicking on things you shouldn't. It doesn't matter how good your antivirus is if you get instructions from a hacker to send money to an account in a country that you don't know, and you actually do it, right? You're the one that tends to be making the mistake. It tends not to be some, oh, I didn't install this antivirus, or I didn't understand this IT procedure. No. It's about whether you're getting tricked, whether you are getting fooled. So don't be fooled. Stay alert. Thank you very much.